Right.
Hello, everybody. You're very welcome. My name is Laura Wieninkowski, and I'm an international life and relationship coach. I coach in English, Spanish, Finnish, and Italian. And I'm doing this interview series now, which I'm so excited about. It's about waking up to your true potential. So I have guests from all over the world, and they're sharing so much of their amazing knowledge of how do we wake up to our true potential, and how do we create this new earth? How do we create this new earth after the pandemic? We're all trying to figure that out. So today I have an amazing guest with me today, and she's one of my friends as well. We've known each other for a very long time, and I love her dearly, and we're so aligned in so many ways. My guest is Yovanka Sanchez, and she's multi-talented. She's super international and multilingual as well. She's an entrepreneur. She's the founder and creative director. She's a writer, she's a producer, an activist, a public speaker, and the founder of La Mariposa films. I mean, that is such an amazing that is such an amazing CV, that so many talents. So you're so welcome, Yovanka. You're so welcome to
Thank you. Thank you, my Laura. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. I'm so blessed. I'm so happy. Like you said, we've known each other for so many years. And then we're also so aligned in this moment in time. And not only aligned in everything that we believe, even on the symbol of the butterfly, and on the, on waking up that true potential for everyone. So thank you for having me, and really amazing what you're doing, this platform that you're creating. So I know it's going to be an incredible success, and I'm so honored to be here with you today. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Yovanka. It's such a pleasure to have you here. And I know that you're super busy. I know that you have an NBC interview after this as well. So it's so great. It's so great that you took time today, to be here with me. And we also have the Miami connection, right? Because you live in Miami, and I used to live in Miami, and Miami is one of my homes. So, I hope to go back to Miami next year.
Yes, I want to see you here in Miami. Miami's changing a lot. Everybody's like, Miami's happening, because the sun and the weather, and obviously it's been one of the states in the United States that has opened up the quickest, from the pandemic. And it's also gotten a lot of track on culture and spiritual gatherings and a very conscious community. So it's great. I mean, you have the both sides of Miami, the fun, lively beach, scenery, but you also have the conscious vegan yogi. So it's a great combination.
Yeah, definitely. I actually noticed that, because the last time I was in Miami was in October 2019. Like, I was lucky because I just made it to Miami, before, without knowing, that this pandemic was going to happen.
Of course.
I went in October 2019, and I saw how much Miami had changed in the last 10 years. So I definitely want to go back next year. So I want to talk about all these amazing projects and things that you do. You have Find Your Story, you have Use Your Woman's Voice, This Is Your Power, and you are the heroine of your story. Do you want to expand a little bit more on all these amazing projects of empowerment that you do?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Malarita. Well, it is beautiful. I think we are in such an amazing time, an important time for female in the world. And when I talk about female, I don't necessarily mean only women. I also recognize that men are waking up to this female energy, which is the energy that is in the heart. It's the emotional, the beautiful connection of the heart. And for a long time, when I studied filmmaking, I used to, see the hero in the big screen, and I used to see the journeys of this man, and it was always them in action. And I always wonder, how come there is not enough stories about the heroine, where she's doing some kind of heroic action or inspirational action. And that's when I started developing many years ago, the idea about how important it is to have that inspirational role model that is not necessarily just the sort of the beautiful subject or the sexy subject or the story, but she's playing an important role. And I think it aligns very much in the story of our world today with the pandemic, because waking up to this, like you said, to this true potential, it comes really from the heart, from your true purpose, from who you truly are, and really being able to connect at a deeper level, at the level of the heart. And it is incredible, because in the hero's journey, everything is from the outside. So the hero's power comes from the external power, from the money, from the position, and is very physical. And then the heroine is the inside. She transforms in the inside, and everything as women, it is from that, emotional connection, because we are creators at the end of the day. So when I speak about the heroine, is because I truly believe that we are in a moment in time that women are waking up to really sharing their truth, really using their voices, really creating their platforms and following their purpose, their dreams, whatever it might be. But they all have, in some way, because we as women transform, this difficult chapters within their stories. And a lot of times it's from these difficult chapters in our stories that we actually transform like the butterfly. And we are able to find our true purpose, our true mission, whatever it is that we want to accomplish, because that's the end goal of the hero or the heroine, to really, get to a certain place. And for the heroine is about her true purpose, her true power. So when I speak about the heroine, is because I believe that women a lot of times, and some of the ones that I speak to, do not recognize that they have this heroic journeys. Right. And we all, and I believe all women do, because at the end, it comes from living these different chapters and transforming from them, and being able to sort of, how did you get, out of this, or how did you accomplish this, or, from that difficult chapter, that is the growth and that is the transformation. So at this moment in time, I believe we are all heroines of our own journey. And I sort of, expand into that, a lot in my workshops and in my theory about, the content that I create or the stories that I create, because I want to bring a lot of heroines into the screen. That's my goal.
Yeah, that's wow. Like, yeah, everything that you say resonates so much with me, right? Because, in my own coaching, it's all about, doing the inner work first, right?
Right.
Like, the only way that things will change in your life and in your external world is by doing that inner work first, right? So yeah, so I really resonate with that, with the heroine's journey and the hero's journey, right?
Yes,
and
yes,
I also really like that you mentioned, that it's like the feminine energies, but it's not only the feminine energies like connected to the women, it's the feminine energies like inside the men as well, right? Because
yes,
we all have that feminine and that masculine energy, right? And I think that
yes,
one thing that's happening in the world now is that those energies are coming into balance now, right? Because they've been out of balance for a very long time, right?
yes.
So I think that that's one of the changes that's happening now as well, right?
Enormous. And we
Yeah.
are seeing it perhaps, when you obviously are more connected to a spiritual world or to a deeper conscious, you understand a little bit more. But if you look at it from more of a plain side, you can see right now how much, there is women speaking out about certain oppressions, about certain abuses, about inequality, injustice. This is the feminine energy.
Right.
Everything that is happening about the movements, that are coming out, even the LGBT community, the Black Lives Matter, it's all, in a way, indirectly combined or aligned with the feminine energy, because it's saying, it's about the heart. It's about how I feel when you treat me like this, or when you make me feel less, or when you oppress me. So it is all very much in that same energy. And even the world as we see it right now, it's it's the Mother Earth at the end of the day. And what we are realizing is that if we don't take care of Mother Earth and all the gifts and all the beautiful things it has, in a way, we are indirectly kind of doing what we've been doing to women for a long, long time, through the years, so suppressing, oppressing, hurting it. So imagine how amazing that everything is very much, about that female waking up, like you said. And then there is the men. There's the men that are actually realizing that it's okay to cry, that it's okay to be emotional, that it's okay to talk about feelings, that it's okay not to represent this, manly, powerful, strong men, that you can be, connected to your heart and have these emotions that would actually make you even better. So yes, we are in that time, like you said, it doesn't necessarily mean female, just women and girls. It means actually that energy that is coming out in the world, and it's all over the place, that we're seeing it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that, that ties into, more, there being more consciousness in general, right? Like in terms of people being more conscious about everything that they do, right? More conscious about themselves, more, managing and handling relationships in a more conscious way, right? Because then it's like, if you have two empowered people and two conscious people in a relationship, of course, you're going to have a much better chance of having, an empowered, conscious relationship, right?
Beautiful. Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. That's key. And I think that's where we're seeing a lot of, like you said, people waking up in different parts of the world. They're finding their own communities, their own tribes, their own people that they can align themselves with, as long as they resonate. And there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot all over the place. Look at you, you are across the world, and you're reaching out to me, and thankfully, through this also opportunity of you utilizing the digital world, we're able to do this and to bring these messages and to bring, our platforms, to live and our voices. So yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing to be able to do that.
And it's amazing when like-minded people come together, right? That's how change has always happened, right? That's how change has always happened throughout history. It's, like a large group of people waking up in many different ways, right? And then those big changes happen. And I mean, I think that it reflects, the changes that are happening in the world now, because, we've all gone through this pandemic, we've all been in lockdowns. And I think that, we've changed so much. Like we've changed, ourselves internally. We've reevaluated our lives, our priorities, our values in every way, right?
Everything.
And then the world has changed too, right? So it's never going to be the world that it was before the pandemic, right?
For sure.
So now it's like we have to create that new world, right? And we create it, of course. The only person that we can ever control is ourselves, right? That's the only person that we can control, and we control like our own energy and all of that, right? So it's like, so we have the choice of doing that internal work, and then we choose what kind of energy, we put out into the world, and what kind of people like are around us as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's how it is. Exactly that. And that's why it is so powerful. Also storytelling, because, storytelling is about how you pass on your journey of learning, of growth and inspiration from a place of, in a way, heroic. This is what I went through, this is what I did, and that's how I overcame. One of the beautiful things that you've seen in the pandemic is all these incredible stories about, how people have been able to do certain things or transform in this way or that, and it's out of those stories. So storytelling is so powerful. Even Steve Jobs, who was like a techie guy, he always says, the storytellers are sort of like the ones that, put out the narrative for the future. And we are realizing that narratives, even with brands and companies, I mean, recently Victoria's Secret is changing their narrative and their message about, having the sexy clothes and all that for the men versus now dressing for yourself as a woman. So they're empowering
is that okay? Are they doing that? Okay, I didn't know.
And the majority of the women that they are aligning themselves with are activists, and are
Okay.
women of all shapes and sizes and colors. And I think it's beautiful,
Yeah.
that this is happening. And then we have for
Yeah.
the first time a vice president also in the United States,
Yeah. Who's a
so
woman? Yeah.
it's a woman. So the narratives,
Yeah.
and across the world too, we have female leaders who have done an amazing job throughout the pandemic. So what we
Yeah.
are realizing is that stories and narratives are changing as well. And
Yeah.
that's why storytelling is so powerful, because this is how we learn in a way. You learn from books and from stories of the past and from stories of women and men, and it's
Yeah.
passed on. And it's
Yes.
a great learning. So storytelling and stories, like you were saying, find your story, are so powerful at the end
Yeah.
of the day.
Definitely.
So a new
Definitely. Yeah.
narrative.
Yeah, exactly. And like this, it's interesting that you bring up the stories, because that's something that I talk about in my coaching a lot. When somebody
Mhm.
comes to me, looking for a relationship,
Mhm.
for example, I always start by asking them, okay, what story are you telling yourself about you,
Right.
about relationships, about men,
Yeah.
about women?
Yeah.
And so many times those stories are incredibly negative, so you
Yes.
have to change that story, right?
Yes.
And then also, what you were saying is really powerful, that when you're ready to tell your story, then then you'll tell it, right? And then you mentioned
Yes.
something that, when you get to the point that you can tell like a big, survival story, or a big, heroine story without crying, then you're ready to tell that story, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a saying always. I say, when you're able to share your story and you don't cry, is because you have healed.
Yes.
And
I love that. I love that.
Yes. And that's
Yes.
because you actually can get up on a stage in front of a camera or an interview and be able to tell you this really powerful, perhaps dark, difficult, chapters of your story. But the way you would tell it, it will be from a place of empowerment and inspiration.
Yes.
So in a way, it's going to sort of teach the audience or the other person, wow, she went through all this and she was able to overcome it. And now look what she's doing. So
Yes.
it's a different position than if you're telling it and you're still healing and you're obviously emotional and you're crying.
Yes.
And it's still in the process. Then the way that the audience or the other people might, get the message is completely different. It will be more of a, feeling sorry or feeling bad.
Yes.
So that's why I say it's so important that when you share your story is because you have healed, because you've done your work.
Yes.
You sat in your, dark chapter and
you went through the dark night of the soul.
Exactly. And then you transform like the butterfly.
Like the butterfly. Yes.
And then you fly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is so that is so powerful. That is so powerful. And and I think that a really good point here to make is that we all go through happy moments, and we all go through challenges. I mean, we go through extremely big challenges, and we all have those stories, right? We all have, the battle scars in a way of things that we have gone through, right? But I think that what really makes the difference is how you use it, right? And how you look at all of these experiences, right? Because like myself, I've gone through a lot, like I say, I've been through hell and back, and yeah. And the thing is that I've used all those experiences, to make, to make a difference in the world, right? And it's made me stronger than ever, right? Because I've been through so much, and I'm still here, like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But then it's always a choice as well, right? Because if I wanted to, and this is the case with anybody that has gone through, difficult moments, if I wanted to, I could be a super negative and bitter person. I could think to myself, you know what, this is so unfair. Life is so unfair, everyone else, why do I have to go through all of this? I could be a total victim. I could be a total victim and be like, why me, right? But then, so it makes a difference how you look at what happens to you and what you do with it, right? Because you choose if you're the victim, and you choose if you're the heroine, right? Nobody else makes that choice for you, right?
For sure. And you do this when you understand how powerful your story, like you just said, it is for you and for the rest of the world. And when you understand that, then you know that that is one of your strongest tools, even for brands. We are in a moment that, you know, people do not connect with brands because they're getting sold onto buying something, or, you know, at the end, it's not about the products or the service. It's about what you believe, what you stand for. And even brands today, it's not about what they sell, what they stand for. Especially millennials are connecting more with that. And that's why storytelling and their stories are important, because they say, okay, we stand for supporting women, or we stand for supporting the, you know, Black Lives Matter. And it's the story of the narrative of that brand that indirectly will connect, especially today that we live in a world that it's all about content. You know, it's all about what we are doing is creating content, and indirectly is content of stories, you know, of you know, what we're doing up in this moment in our lives, or, you know, your mission right now and your platform. So it is about that. And I think it is so powerful when you understand that you can utilize that story, like you said, for you, and to share it with the world to create change. At the end of the day.
It's so powerful. And I think it's so beautiful and so aligned what we do, right? Because me, with my coaching, I help people change those stories, right?
Right.
I give awareness to those negative stories, and then I help them change the negative stories into positive stories. And then you give them the platform, the platform to, like, you know, voice those stories, right? Like you, you with your Mariposa films, you know, it's like you actually, you give them the platform to, like, you know, tell those stories and, you know, voice those stories and those opinions and those experiences. So I think, I think that's beautiful. And then again, it shows that first you do the inner work, you know, first you look at your own stories, and, you know, you change those stories, right? And then you can talk about it, right? Then you put the voice behind it, right? And then it's like, it's about, you know, like claiming your power, and like owning your voice, and owning your truth, and owning your story, right? Because those stories define you. Those stories define you.
For sure,
you know?
for sure. And when I work with women, what I tell them is, you know, I developed this module, you know, in a way, or this sort of structure that I created about the heroine. So a lot of times, you know, part of that process, I tell them that it's going to help them heal. And it's so, in a way, it's sort of journaling about your story in a way that when you put it together, then we can identify the actual chapters that will become part of that transformation, and then the heroine journey. So it's also, you know, doing the process of storytelling and writing. It's a process of healing as well, like what you were saying, you know, indirectly. So it aligns very much on, you know, creating a structure and a story that has similarities to what, you know, you see in the big screen in Hollywood, but with the emotional and more, perhaps, if you want to call it mystical or spiritual part of it, you know what I'm saying? Which is not so commercial. So yes, that's exactly it. You know, it's about you telling them, change that chip and that narrative, and I helping them create a new structure, and, you know, whether it'll be for their business, their organizations, their website, their TED Talks, you know, whatever, their book. At the end of the day, I say you have to have two stories. You have to have the long format story and the pitch, and the elevator pitch.
And then the elevator pitch, exactly.
You never know. You gotta be
story,
able to say it in 30 seconds in an elevator. You know, this is who I am. This is what I've been through. This is what I'm doing. This, boom. And you saw that person, you know, and then you have a long version, you know.
then you have the novela version, or like the movie version, right?
Or the movie version.
Story.
Yes, exactly.
That's great. And then if somebody, you know, like, how does the process work? Like, if somebody has a story that they want to share with you, how does it work? They contact you and then they give you a pitch, or how does it work?
Yeah, well, usually, you know, I have different things that I'm doing with the Mariposa films. One is I'm actually collaborating with brands and platforms where I'm actually putting, you know, content that puts the women at the center of the story. So
Right.
it's about, females being the protagonists of the short content or long format content. And that is behind, there's also women behind the camera that I help empower. So I'm very much about also creating opportunities for women behind, because it's been such a difficult industry,
Yes.
and I went through a very difficult time to,
Yeah.
sort of put my foot, in the door. And this is part of why I believe that it's about in front and behind. So in another way, I have women that might reach out to me and that might want to create their story or their video for their website, for a presentation in a TED Talk, for a book, for their own organization. And we have a process where, they tell me exactly what they want to do. Look, I want to create perhaps a 3 or 4 minute video, or I want to do a long format. And we sit together and we do it through steps. Of course, like I told you, first, we sort of put everything out there, we brainstorm. It's sort of a way of brainstorming and creating a little bit of those important chapters. And then once we identify that, we create an actual script. And then from that, I can either do a long form, short content, or I can do a longer version, and it has a lot of the cinematic qualities. So it's high value production, meaning it's not just, getting an iPhone like you would do an IG and be like, hey, that's a great one too, because that's an organic content. This ones have all the value in the production where you actually go through your makeup, your wardrobe, I make sure that, the scenery has enough visuals that can tell that story visually. If you're the CEO of a company, is filming you a little bit on your company and is filming you in your home as a mother. So we work on all that to bring it to life in a way that makes sense to your brand and to your platform, and it will align to your message and your mission. And then of course I have other projects, like I'm gonna, go back to doing the live events, where I was having an event called Sisterhood storytelling event, where I bring 4, whether women and girls' voices on one stage, and they share their story. I started this back in November 2019, and then of course pandemic happened. I did one more. So we're going to go back to doing that as well. And then I have the longer format content where I'm creating sort of series where I will create fictional stories, but with female protagonists that at the end have the same sort of mission, is, finally, or basically female driven content, which is so necessary and so important. Because I say, from what, if she can see it, she can be it. So
I love that.
So if you see a strong, lawyer, maybe that young girl, may think, hey, I can be a lawyer too one day, and So she's not anymore being passive. She's now the heroine of that story. So that's a little bit, of what I'm doing with Mariposa Films. And of course, this year I'm also relaunching myself to speak in a lot of women's events, and events where I can actually speak about the importance of women's stories, the importance about gender, inclusion, equality, Black Lives Matter. For me, that's important as well. I believe, we need that, and gender violence as well. So I'm all about all that, and I'm sort of relaunching my personal voice to bring across how much I believe in this as an activist, and my message of empowerment and all these causes that for me obviously are close to my heart. So
wow.
as a speaker.
Wow, Yovanka, everything that you do is so amazing, and
Thank
when I
you.
go, next time I go to Miami, we have to do an event together. Like I can see it now. I can see it now, like, how you said, like, if you can visualize it, it's going to happen. If you can see it, you can achieve it. I can totally see us, doing an event together in Miami.
It will be my honor. I love it. Thank you.
We have to do it. We have to do it. Thank you so much, Yovanka. Thank you so much for your time today, and for sharing, all your knowledge and all of your inspiration. And if people want to find you, what's the best way to find you?
Thank you so much. So they can find me on all my platforms. There are, for example, IG, Yovanka Sanchez, LinkedIn, Yovanka Sanchez, Twitter, Yovanka Sanchez. Is a little bit that I'm activating it more. And of course, the website for La Mariposa Films. I don't know if you want to put it out, you know, in the video.
I'll put all your links. I'll
All my
include all your
links
links.
And then for speaking also, they can reach out to me, you know, through my platform in LinkedIn. And basically my name, you know, Yovanka Sanchez in all the platforms that exist, Facebook, you know, and La Mariposa Films as well. So yeah, I love to hear, you know, amazing women, you know, hopefully be able to feel that in this moment in time, they can share their stories, you know, and bring it on, because our voices are so important, more than ever in this moment in time.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Thank you so much, Yovanka. And I really hope to see you in person in Miami soon, you know.
Me too.
Next year. I can see it now. Miami 2022. I can see myself. I can see myself there. So thank you. Thank you so much, Yovanka. And yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the video and got lots of great insights and inspiration. Don't forget to give the video a like and subscribe. And you can find me, you can email me on lauracoaching@gmail.com, and my website is laurawininkoski.com. So thank you so much, everybody, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Amazing, Laura. Thank you so much. Thank you, Larita.
Thank you, Yovanka. Bye.